he came over. He's like, "Hey, what's going on?" And I was like, starts bawling, like literally. I'm like, "Oh my God, what? They're not. I don't know what to."
Like I can literally just walk in your house at any time. They're like, yeah, of course, like come over whenever you want. And I'm like, no, 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 that's not a good thing.
And so I was like, "What? Like
Why would
that's
they
so
do that?
weird,
Yeah.
right? That doesn't make sense
What?
to me." She started walking to her house. I'm like, "You couldn't have done that before you gave me this trauma." Men will still try to like flirt with you, will still make you uncomfortable. Like they don't care at
No.
all. What's up, spammers? Welcome back. We're your hosts, Nayla and Crystal, and today we are going to be doing an episode on the fears of being a woman, and we'll definitely get into that. But of course, first we got to do a quick little catch up. Let's address the elephant in the room. Yes, me and Nyla are matching. As soon as we opened up the Zoom app, Nyla's like, "Wait, are we matching?" I'm like, "Of course we are." Of course.
The neutrals, I don't know how we both got the message. We match almost every episode.
We do, and we don't even plan it. I bet
No.
you if we planned it, we wouldn't be able to make it work.
Oh no. We just show up.
Yeah, but that's so funny though. But it
Hmm.
works because then I can pick a background color that matches our shirts.
It does work really well. It makes everything
Mhm.
look so nice, and we're not even trying.
Right?
Hmm.
All right. Well, let's do a little quick catch up on our days. How has your day been today?
My day's been pretty solid. Woke up, did a surprise 80-minute. It was supposed to be a 90-minute Zumba class, but they kind of
Mhm.
like ended a little earlier than they were supposed to.
Mhm.
So it was like an 85-minute class, which
Mhm.
I was knocked out. I was like, I'm tired because Zumba's like it's at 8 in the morning.
Mhm.
So yeah, we weren't done by 9:30. Um,
Mhm.
so that was fun though. And then after that, JCPenney's having a current sale, which is where I literally bought this sweater today.
Mhm.
And so I went shopping with my mom and then now I'm here. How has
Yay.
your day been?
I'll get right into my day, but I do want to say that I was shook when your notification came in for your workout and you burned like 400 calories. I'm like, okay, she really popped off today. Because normally I think you burn like what, 300 and something calories
Yeah.
Saturdays?
Saturdays I usually burn a lot less because for some reason, our instructors they go a little easier on
Hmm.
Saturday morning. I guess because it's like it's a Saturday morning class.
Weekend. Yeah.
Yeah. And so those days I usually am around like 3:30. But
Hmm.
yeah, today longer class, so
Hmm.
more calorie burn. Like I filled out my rings so
Uh-huh.
early on, like it's kind of
Yeah,
crazy.
you already closed them?
I just have my standing ring. Yeah, that's the only one left.
Oh, nice, nice. Good way to start the day.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, my day, I actually had a little bit of a solo day.
Ooh.
I'm by myself right now.
Oh, what the heck?
Spooky. Yeah, everyone's gone. They're in a different country.
They left you?
They left me. Well, I didn't want to go.
Mm.
I wasn't really in the mood to go to Mexico today. I was gonna go originally because I wanted to go to the doctor's,
Mhm.
but the doctor that I want to go to is not gonna be there. So I'm like, let me just stay here. And then I turned it into a day. I woke up, got my workout in, and then afterwards I was hungry. And I was gonna go to my favorite little coffee shop, which was El Cafecito, but I'm
Mhm.
like, I'm gonna get my coffee, which is gonna give me energy, and then I'm gonna get my little toast, but my little toast is not gonna fill me up. So I
Mm.
decided instead to go to a sit down restaurant from
Which we
last
just
week's,
talked about 2
not
weeks.
last week's, 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago's episode.
Mhm.
Anyways, you know what I'm talking about. Um, and I was like, "Ooh, little challenge." So I went. It was nice. There was no one there. It
Nice,
was
early in the morning.
It was
Mhm.
so enjoyable. I was literally just sitting there eating my tacos, vibing to the music.
Your
It was
plain
so
tacos.
yeah, my plain tacos. Just eating them, and then afterwards I went to Goodwill, and then Goodwill drained me. I think I
Ah.
realized I should stop going to Goodwill.
It is a lot.
It's a lot. There's a lot of people. There you have to look through everything, and then I walk out empty-handed, and then that drains me even more.
No.
Yeah.
It's like all the effort for
Mm.
what?
Yeah, no, literally. So I walk out, I'm all sad, and I'm like, "Ugh, where else should I go?" But I didn't wanna go anywhere else. I was thinking about going to JCPenney too, because I had, a coupon from there as well, but I
Mhm.
was like, "That's all the way across town," and I was like, "Nah, I'm just gonna go back." take a quick little nap before me and Nyla hop on the podcast. And I did that. But yeah, that's what I did today. I just had a little solo outing. And I was thinking it was also perfect timing because today we're doing the episode about the fears of being a woman.
Yes. What a perfect segue.
Hmm. Plan that one out.
Mhm.
um, but let's just go ahead and get right into it. I know a lot of women don't like to do things alone.
Yeah.
Like, go out to the store alone, go out, let alone go out to a restaurant because you have like the anxiety of being out in public by yourself. But on top of that, you have the anxiety of
Being a
also
woman.
being a woman. And like, just a lot can happen. And I was also thinking about while I was out there by myself, how it's so exhausting to be a woman,
Mhm.
genuinely. Like, you can't just go out and like have the best time of your life. Like, even if you're having the best time, you still have to be aware like 24/7. And I feel like that's mentally draining.
Mhm. 'Cause you're always have to be conscious of what's going on around you, who's around
Mhm.
you, like, it takes a lot of mental strength.
Mhm.
It's like, I always question, like, men just go and do things.
Right?
Men can just go walk on the street.
Yeah. Like, I'm sure they face like a fear of maybe getting stopped and like mugged or something. But I feel like we have that same fear, but on top of that, we have like all these other fears because I think women are more at a disadvantage than men are when we go walking anywhere. Like
Yeah.
if we go for a walk in the park, like I have to be afraid of like a man coming up to me. I have to be afraid of getting taken or something, you
Mhm. I was
know?
gonna say, like, kidnap,
Mhm.
assault. Like, there's
Yeah.
so many different things that could happen to a woman because you're in a more vulnerable state,
Mhm.
but being a man, for some reason I mean, the other thing is, like, because of social media, because of the news, because of everything we've heard, women being vulnerable, like, we are labeled as, like, less strong,
Mhm.
and a lot of times, men can be stronger, and
Mhm.
so physically, you could be at a disadvantage at times too.
Yeah,
So
that's
there's a
true.
lot of things, yeah.
Mhm. And that's like that's just our problems as a woman in a first world country, like, let alone all the other problems that are going on around the world that
Mhm,
we can't even fathom or like
mhm.
we're not aware of them. So, yeah, I feel like this is quite a bit of a heavy topic. So again, we're just going to share our own personal experiences and stories. We're not speaking for every woman out there, but we're speaking for ourselves.
Yeah.
So, yeah, have you ever had like a time in your life where you feared for your life?
I don't the thing is, again, being a woman, I feel like it's, like, constant.
Mhm.
There's never been, like, a specific situation where I've, like, ultimately really been like, "Oh, this could be it," you know?
Mhm.
I'm really lucky and fortunate for that,
Mhm.
but there have been many, many instances where I feel like I'm being followed, or, like, I've had instances where I'm walking with my friends and, like, men will walk closer to you and, like,
Mhm.
almost like I'm literally thinking of a couple weekends ago, my friend and I went out to get clams, mussels.
Oh.
Yeah, it was really cute, but, we were
Mhm.
walking on the street, and we were walking side by side, and this man starts walking directly in front of one of us, in front of me, and
Mhm.
so I had to move behind her, and he still kept coming close, like, just kept get like, we were almost against the
Ew.
wall back to back. Like, we couldn't
Mhm.
even walk comfortably without, like, the fear of, like, some man trying to touch us. That was, like, one instance, like, in my head currently
Mhm.
where that happened, and I was,
Mhm.
like, kinda, like it stuck with me because I was like, "I can't even I we can't even walk on the street."
Right. Can't even go down the street without feeling like someone's watching you.
Yeah.
I had this instance when I was little, and I don't
Mhm.
know why it happened, but, I remember so I was already a very scared child, like, I was scared of everything.
Mhm.
Rightfully so, though, I was very scared of getting kidnapped, like, I was traumatized of getting kidnapped. So, I remember we were in Mexico, and in Mexico, like, kids are allowed to just walk anywhere.
Wherever. Mhm.
Because there's these little ejidos, which I think literally translates as villages, but
Mhm.
they're not like when I think of a village, I think of, like, more broken down than what the little town that they were in,
Mhm.
but that's what it literally translates as, because there's a lot of, like, dirt roads and stuff.
Mhm.
But we would like walk around everywhere. And I remember we would always go in a little group, but even in the little group, I was terrified. You know, when like my boy cousins would go with us, I felt a little safer,
Yeah.
but even then, like I was still afraid. I remember
Mhm.
this one time we were walking to, I think like a little store, and it was like further away than what we normally went to. And we were walking back, and I was on edge, like alarmed, like looking around. I was always aware to see if like someone was gonna come and get us so that I could run away. And this one time, literally, I was just thinking about like, what if somebody just like pulls up and like takes us?
Mhm.
And in that second that I thought about that, this one car, like literally like fast, just like pulls up right in front of us and parks in front of a house. The guy gets out real fast from his car. He steps out and he goes, boo, like, you know, like pretend like he was gonna get us. But I think he was
Mhm.
just joking. But I'm like, why would he do that?
Why would
I
you
was,
joke about that?
yeah, I was traumatized. Literally, I think it went boom. Like I ran.
Mhm.
But then my cousins were laughing it off because I think maybe they knew him or something, or they knew
Mhm.
who he was. And so I was like, not funny. Like that traumatized me. And ever since then, I remember I would go to the park in other instances and I would hide behind slides whenever a car would drive by because I thought they were literally going to take me.
Mhm.
And that was just me as a kid. And I thought, you know, maybe one day when I get older and I'm an adult, I'll stop being afraid. But nope, I only got even more scared of this world. It's
Yeah.
scary out there.
Have you had any instances as, like, an adult where
As,
you've felt feared?
I don't think so. I think I'm like very lucky in that instance that I don't think I've ever really been followed,
Mhm.
or at least not that I remember. Because
Mhm.
anytime I've ever been to like a big city, I've been with my parents.
Mm.
So I don't think anyone has ever followed me. And then here where I live, I know that there are still like scary things that happen, but I've been very fortunate enough to like not have experienced anything like that.
Mhm.
But I have had like friends who have experienced scary situations where they go to like Walmart or something and then they get followed by someone, or it's like a weird sketchy guy that's like following them around aisles,
Mm.
and they're like, why is he following me? But then for this one friend, her boyfriend came like back to where she was, and then that guy that was like following her around just disappeared.
'Cause a man came in,
Yeah.
like
Which, oh my gosh, can we talk about how like I think that there's this, I don't know what you would call it, but this like unspoken understanding maybe
mhm.
between men that if there's a man with a woman, they won't mess with the woman because it's like that man's property sort of thing. But if there's
Yeah.
a woman by themselves, like it's up for anyone, you know?
Vulnerable, yep.
Mhm.
You're
That's so
vulnerable without a
scary.
man. It's so annoying.
Right?
Like I said, like, even in my little story, it wasn't anything I was fearing, but we were 2 women,
Hmm.
right? Highly doubt if, like, my friend's boyfriend was with us, that that guy
Hmm.
would even try to approach us.
Yes.
Like,
Exactly.
only because we were women and women only,
Hmm.
vulnerable, like and, like, in those instances, again, we were really fortunate, we just kind of, like, kept having our conversation, we didn't acknowledge it, we didn't talk about it, like, we just kept
Hmm.
going because it's like, there's nothing we could really do.
Hmm.
Like, we just gotta walk past and keep going, and, like, we were still having such a good time, but I was thinking, like, had a man been with us, we wouldn't have even, like, been approached.
Mhm. And that's so true. Because even though you guys outnumbered that one guy, like, that guy still has the mentality of these are 2 women, like,
Mhm,
just 2 women, you know?
mhm,
If there were 2 women and 1 guy, then you guys could definitely outnumber that one guy because then now there's a guy against the guy, you know?
mhm.
But, yeah, you're definitely still at a disadvantage, I feel like, unless there's a huge group of women together.
Even then, I don't know why, it's just, like, men just feel like it's appropriate to
Mhm.
approach women when women are alone,
Yeah.
and it's just like, "Don't."
Right? And it's just so, it's weird because when they approach you, it's because they wanna try to, like, get something out of you, right?
Mhm,
And you think if you actually want this to work out, like, wouldn't you rather approach them in a way that's, like, actually gonna want to make them be interested in you, you know? Like, they're so weird that they rather be creepy than, like, kind or, you know, 'Cause that's gonna win them over, genuinely. I think if a
Mhm.
guy, like, went up to a woman and was, like, respectful and, like, was actually trying to, like, flirt with her, but, like, he was doing it in a good way, then that's understandable, but, like, why go up to someone and be creepy and expect them to, like, want to be with you, you know? Or, like,
Yeah.
be interested, like, it's just so weird. I
I
can't
the
understand that
yeah,
that
the way
mindset.
the, like, man's men's minds work.
Mhm.
It's so interesting.
Yeah. I guess we'll never understand it as women.
No.
But it's also funny, though, because when we talk about men as a whole, but then we have, like, the men in our lives that are, like, not anything like that. So
Yeah.
it's like, where did they go wrong? Like, where did the where did the creepy men go wrong?
But also okay,
Mhm.
this is random. Not that, like, saying the men in our life are bad. They're, we
Mhm.
got lucky, we're fortunate.
Mhm.
But also sometimes I think about maybe at home they're different than when they are out in public,
Oh, yeah.
you know? So,
That's true.
like, someone may think their, husband or whatever is, like, great, but that could be that creepy person who's following someone around in a store.
That's very true.
You never know someone's intention. And that's the
Mhm.
worst part about it. I think that's where, like, the fear comes in a lot, and it comes in obviously for people who are, like, dating on dating apps. It's like, who can you trust? There's no
Oh, yeah.
trust in today's world.
Mm-mm. Dating apps are so scary. Like, I don't think I could ever do that because, like, you don't know who this person actually is. Like, they could pretend to be someone, and then, like, months down the line, all of a sudden, they're this, like, weirdo, or you end up finding some creepy stuff out about them, and, like, you just truly never know.
Mhm. Also, this like, the show You has just ruined all men.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Joe Girl
Goldberg?
yeah, Joe Goldberg
Subscribe.
has just ruined all men.
No, really, like, when I watched the show You, I got anxious about going out places by myself because 'cause I'm like, "Oh my god, this could be happening in real life." And I was scared to, like, have my window open because 'cause I'm like, "Somebody could be looking at me," you know?
Oh, yeah. That's, like that's always been a fear. Like, no
Mhm.
matter where I've lived, like, even in school, like, I was always so worried. I would double check all the windows and doors, like, it's, like, fears like that, which I
Mhm.
realize sometimes, like, whenever I would stay at, like, a friend's house, sometimes they wouldn't even lock the door 'cause, like,
Mm.
so, for example, if they're men, like, all my
Mhm.
guy friends, like, half the time wouldn't even lock their doors. I'm like,
Really?
"That's not something you think about? Like, are you not, like, concerned that someone's gonna enter?" And they're like, "No." And I'm like, "What do you mean? Like, how are you not concerned?"
Mhm. That they would not catch us with our doors unlocked.
Never, never. That
Mm-mm.
was like I was in shock. I was like, "Your door's just unlocked. Like, I can literally just walk in your house at any time." They're like, "Yeah, of course, like, come over whenever you want." And I'm like, "No, no, no, that's not a good thing.
Mhm.
Like, you never know who's gonna open your door."
That's true.
But
I
that's not
mean,
a fear that men have.
yeah. Yeah, cause like, I mean, I think to myself, like, "What if I get robbed?" And then, like, what if somebody comes in, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah, like, right now, like, all my windows are closed, like, shut. Doors are locked. I have the dogs. I'm like, "Okay, they'll protect me." So, I got, like, all these layers of protection.
You know Gigi's gonna start yelling.
No, Gigi's not here. She's not here to
Gigi went to
defend me.
Mexico. Oh,
Gigi
no.
went to Mexico. She said, "I'm off the clock. Bye."
Yeah, and Daisy's too quiet?
No, actually, Daisy's a really good barker.
Okay,
She's
good.
just very chill. Like,
Yeah.
she's chill right now.
She's
Yeah,
not wagging her tail to get
Chiquita.
out.
Chiquita's brave. She'll eat
Mhm.
someone alive. And
Good.
then we got Luna too, so, like, we got layers.
Good, good, good.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, things like that.
Mhm. It's scary. Like, again, like, I can't literally just enjoy being by myself 100% without having, like, a little fear behind it, you know?
Mhm. Do you ever, like, when you're like, home alone and you, like, hear a slight noise,
Mhm.
do you start, like, mentally unraveling and, like, freaking out?
I do and I don't. So
Mhm.
that's a good thing about having dogs
Right.
because I always think to myself, and this isn't just, like, people, I'm thinking, like, also ghosts. If there's
Mhm.
ever a
Yeah.
ghost in my house and I heard a noise and my dogs didn't react to it, I'm like, "Alright, there's no reason to worry." But if they
Mhm.
bark, then that's when I'm like, looking out the window, like, sneakily, like, trying to see what's going on.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think that's a good thing about having them. But how is it for you? Because you don't really have dogs, right? Or you've
Nope.
never have you ever had dogs?
No, I've never had any pets.
No way.
Yeah, we can't have pets. Pets are meant for in our, like, culture and
Uh-huh.
I don't know if it's culture or religion. I'm not sure which one, but
Uh-huh.
basically, like, animals are meant for the wild and not for the home, even though we breed
Oh.
animals for the whatever. Cats are allowed. I
Oh.
still don't have any because my dad's like, oh,
Allergic.
claims he's allergic. So I've never had pets. I start freaking out.
Mhm.
Like, when I'm home alone, if I'm wearing headphones, I have, like, one so
Uh-huh.
that I can hear. Like, one of my ears has to be fully uncovered when I'm alone
Mhm.
because I'm so scared that any single little noise, like someone's breaking it, like, or there's a ghost, or like there's something wrong. Like,
Uh-huh.
I'm paranoid as heck. And I'm just
Uh-huh.
like, something's gonna happen. I like will triple check my doors. During the day, it's not as bad because it's
Mhm.
light out. So I'm like, I feel safer. And we have like a camera for our doorbell. We have a ring. So
Mhm.
I'm like, okay, I can also check like the front door, but then like the back of the house, unprotected.
Mm.
I don't know what's going on. And so like I will double check all my locks and like I am super paranoid when it comes to that.
Mm. Are you the type of person that will, like, open up the shower curtains before you get in the shower to make sure there's no, like, killer in there? You
My
are?
shower curtain's always open. Unless I'm in the shower, it's always
Uh-huh.
open. When I go to other people's houses and I have
Uh-huh.
to use the bathroom and they
Uh-huh.
have a shower curtain, I literally will check their shower.
You're
Like,
like,
I am so paranoid when it comes to things like that.
check double time in case the guy, like, went
Was
around the
hiding? I definitely have
That's
done
funny.
that, yeah.
That's funny. I think like, in that instance, I've kind of became, like, brave
Mhm.
because I'm not so scared of, scary movies.
Yeah.
So I like to tell myself that there's nothing there, so that I'll believe it. So I'm not as scared when it comes to that. I'm just like, if there's a ghost here, all right, what's the ghost gonna do? But if it's like a physical person, that's scary to me.
Yeah, I think even in my own house, like, when it comes to ghosts, I'm
Mhm.
like, "I've lived here for so long." I will say it, I sometimes will go out loud, I'm like, "If there's a ghost, what took you so long?" Like, "You couldn't
Why
have
are you just
attacked
coming
me?"
around now?
Yeah, I'm like, "You couldn't have done something when I was, like, a baby, like a kid or something, you couldn't have
Mhm.
scared me back, like, why are you trying now?" So, like, I
Mhm.
like, ghosts and stuff in my own house, I'm like, "Okay." It's usually real people that I'm scared of.
Mhm.
Like, in our neighborhood, it's not a bad neighborhood at all, but we've
Mhm.
had, like, break-ins before. And
Oh.
so, like, it's a fear in my head that I'm like,
Mhm.
someone's gonna break in and either, like, kill me or kidnap me or, like, something bad could happen at any moment.
Mhm.
As a woman, like, I feel like
Mhm.
that's just, like, the fear is elevated.
Mhm. Which I, like, came across this TikTok recently where a lady was talking about how, according to robbers who have, like, been jailed, they did this, like, study, and most of them said that if you pretend that you're not home, they're more likely to rob that place than if they know that somebody's there, which might make sense for men. Like,
Mm,
I think if they know that a man is there, but, like, if a woman is there and you're by yourself, like, why would you want to make it known that you're there, you know? So I don't know. I was just thinking about that. I'm like, I don't know how I want to take this information because either way, I think I would pretend that I'm not there and just hide
mhm.
rather than, like, try to, like, scare them away because I obviously won't scare them away. You know what I mean?
That's the thing, right? Because women, again, this idea of, like, us being less than, no matter
Mhm.
what the situation is. So,
Mhm.
just makes us more vulnerable. I don't think I would ever be like, "There's somebody here," unless, like, I can make my voice really, really deep in that moment, and
Yeah.
I can, like, grab a weapon in time, like, I am not letting it known that I'm
Mhm.
alone and there.
Yeah. It's too much of a risk, I feel like.
Oh, yeah.
Because I mean, what are they you just also never know what their intention is. Like, are they
Mhm.
there to rob the house or are they there to, like, get something else, you know?
Mhm.
So, it's too much of a risk. And it was a woman that was sharing this information.
Mhm.
She said, "This is why you should let robbers know that you're home."
Was it a person of color?
No.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
the other thing, right?
Mhm.
Being a white woman in America versus being a person of color.
Yeah.
White women are definitely safer in a sense.
Yeah. You would think 'cause, like, the neighborhoods are typically a little safer
Mhm.
than, like, where people of color usually reside. I know when I was staying out in California, we were in a very wealthy neighborhood, and it was, like, a gated community.
Mhm.
There were a lot more white people there
Yeah.
than there were people of color,
Mhm.
and I felt safe.
Yeah.
Like, this is crazy to me. So, when we were staying there, no lights on anywhere at
Mhm.
night.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
pitch black.
Mhm.
Pitch black. We would, like, drive down, the only light was from our car.
Yeah.
Nobody would have their lights on. I'm like, "This is insane," because where we live, everyone has lights on. Like, we would be caught dead leaving our lights off, you know?
Mhm.
Because that's also alluding to anyone
Someone's
that's
home.
interested in robbing a house, yeah, that nobody's there.
Mhm.
But, like, in this wealthy, rich neighborhood, lights were off. Like, you pitch black, you couldn't see a thing.
Mhm.
It was crazy. When we first got there, it was weird for us, and we would make sure that the doors were locked. In fact, like, we would all sleep in one room, and my dad would lock the doors to the bedroom for, like, a double security, like, in case anyone tried to come in and they try to, like, open the door, like, my dad would be able to hear it. Well, he
Mhm.
would, because your girl's a heavy sleeper.
You're like, "I'm out." Like, nothing's
Yeah.
happening. If something happens, it's happening.
Yeah. That's why I got dogs.
Mhm.
That
It's
made me
like
feel safer.
but yeah, no, you're totally right. Like, because it was a
Mhm.
gated community and it was a primarily white community, you feel safer.
Mhm.
Like, it's less likely to happen there
Mhm.
because I don't know. It's just like, first of all, to other robbers out there, don't you wanna go to the white people? Like, they have the
Yeah, they
most
probably have
money.
more,
Yeah.
right?
Don't you wanna go there? But, like, vulnerability, I think that's the
Mhm.
biggest thing about it.
Yeah. I think also, this goes back to the whole, like, disadvantage thing too with, like, the robbers. Like, maybe the robbers are people of color,
Mhm.
and if they go to a white neighborhood, they are more likely to get in trouble for that
Yeah.
than if they just rob within their own communities, you know?
Mhm. They're
'Cause
likely to get away with
they're
it.
not gonna yeah, they're most likely not gonna believe us, or we're not gonna gain anything, or we just lose, you know?
Mhm.
And they win in this instance, but if they go to, like, a white neighborhood, they can get, like, prosecuted, they'll get in trouble, they'll get jail time,
It's a
like.
much bigger thing, yeah.
Mhm. So, that definitely makes more sense why they don't go there and why they feel safer in those neighborhoods. I know
Yeah.
I felt safer, like, I would go for walks and I would feel safe, but that doesn't mean that I was completely fearless because now I'm a person of color in a white neighborhood. So that's a whole different fear,
Get out.
right? That's why when I would go for my walks, like, I would still be alert. Like, I wasn't
Mhm.
100%, like, not I would pretend that I belonged there so that people didn't think, like, "Oh, who's this person that's out?" You know? Like, "We've never seen her before, like, what's she doing here?"
Mhm.
Yeah, I
You're
had
like
fake
main
until I
character
made it.
moment.
I
Mhm, you're like,
belong here, that's my
"Hi."
house. Yeah.
You're like, "How are you doing?" "Yeah, we're over there." "Yeah."
"Hey, Susan. Hey, Bob." That's funny.
You know how there's a lot of again, going back to, like, social media and, like, cinema, I feel
Mhm,
like the fears of being a woman were also just instilled within us from a very young age because of the media that we consume.
mhm.
Like, all these
Very, very true.
I personally don't know how people do it, but, like, the murder mystery stuff not murder mystery, but,
Oh, yeah.
like, the, like, killers podcasts
The
and
podcast.
shows and,
Mhm,
like, the murder podcasts and shows, like NCIS and things like that, like, I personally could never watch it because as a woman, watching these women on these screens, like, getting killed, getting kidnapped, like, going through all these things, I don't wanna know, I don't wanna hear about it because it could happen to me.
mhm. Honestly, I feel like if I was to listen to that 24/7, I wouldn't be able to walk out my door.
No.
I think ignorance is bliss sometimes when it comes to those things. Like, I'd rather not know about all of these instances or how often it happens,
Mhm.
because otherwise, like, I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to stay in my house 24/7. And even then, I run the same risk being at home. Like, I'm genuinely never safe. No one's ever safe.
Mhm.
But that's what I would do. I would like stop living my life because I'd be like, all right, it could happen. This could happen. This is a sign, like this, and that. So I rather be a little ignorant to some of those situations. And like, I know I have my general knowledge, and I still find out about some of these things because it's all over
It's all
social
over.
media.
Mhm.
So like, I'm aware of them, but I don't like 24/7 look at these things, listen to these things, because otherwise, again, like I said, I'd be glued to my bed right there.
Yeah, and, like, not the is it I always get confused with these 2, Dahmer and Bundy.
Oh, the serial killers?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Which one
that's
yeah,
crazy.
it was Bundy was the one that was specifically
Like
murdering
the
women,
charming
right?
guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Ted Bundy.
Yeah, and then when they made the movie or the show on Netflix and they had Zac Efron, like, portray him, and everyone was like, "Oh,
Oh,
like, Ted Bundy was hot," like, people started literally sexualizing Ted Bundy
romanticizing,
there you go,
yeah.
that's the word, thank you.
Mhm.
They started romanticizing I was like, Sexual?" They did, because it's Zac
Yeah, they
Efron,
did.
but
They
also
did.
they started romanticizing that, and I was like, "Are
Mhm.
you guys okay?"
Yeah, honestly, shame on the people that made that movie, though.
I never watched it, but yeah,
No? I
yeah.
did watch it, but I, like, was so uncomfortable the entire time. I don't know how people were fascinated by Ted.
Mhm.
I never watched the Dahmer one, though. That one was too scary for me. The Ted
Yeah,
Bundy one was scary too, but the
mm.
Dahmer one.
It's just
But
like
yeah.
it's just I just I like you said, I wouldn't be able to leave my bed, like, I wouldn't be able to go
Right?
anywhere alone. I wouldn't feel comfortable, like, I wouldn't talk to
Mm-mm.
anyone.
Nope. People would
Mhm.
have to drag me out of my house. But that kind of, with the fears instilled in us, I feel like it's instilled in us not only through the media, but also through our own family and like parents
Yeah.
growing up. I mean, rightfully so, right? They teach us the stranger danger thing.
Mhm.
Like, don't trust strangers, which is a good thing because then it teaches us to not trust strangers.
Mhm.
But I was curious if maybe you guys did this. I don't know if it's like a just a Mexican thing. I don't know if it's a Latino thing or like how common this is. But growing up, our parents make us fear being taken. Like,
Mhm.
they literally instill it in us. So when a kid is misbehaving, they're at the store, one Mexican mom will like look at another Mexican person and be like, "Hey, do you want a free kid?" And then the kid will be like, ah! And then like you as the other like Mexican person will be like, mm-hmm, I want to take this kid, like it's literally a mutual thing, like an understanding. And it's so funny because I saw this one TikTok that was like, you've leveled up in life when all of a sudden you become that other person that's supposed to scare the kid when you
Mhm.
were once the traumatized kid.
Mhm.
But it's just funny because, it's this understanding, but they really do instill it in us, and I remember, I think because of that, I was so afraid of, like, literally everyone. I could not trust anyone. I would not trust any men. Women make me feel a little safer,
Mhm.
but, like, don't trust any men other than my father. My father's the only man I trust. Oh, my grandpa, but he's no longer with us. But
R.I.P.
those are the only men that I ever trusted.
Mhm.
Everyone else, even, like, my uncles, I'm sorry to say it,
No.
I don't trust a single.
Yeah, same here. We didn't go through the store thing, uh,
Okay. It's
but,
probably just a
like,
Mexican thing.
maybe, yeah. But we were very, like, taught from my mom taught me from a very young age, like, do not trust any man, none of your cousins,
Mhm,
none of your uncles. No, I never met my grandfathers, both of them passed away before I was born. So,
mhm,
literally, my father, that is it.
mhm,
That is it.
mhm,
Like, even my cousins, even, like, the cousins I'm closest to, I mean, now that I'm, like, old, obviously, I feel, like,
mhm,
safe with them, but there
Mhm.
are, like, still some cousins that I'm like, "I don't feel safe around you, and I never will." Like,
Yeah.
it's just like, there's no man that I feel safe around. My
Mhm.
mom always was like, "Never be alone with any man." Like, never.
Mhm.
And so,
Yeah.
it's always been in my head.
Yeah. Same. I agree. I was also taught that to just never be alone with any man, never trust any man, to not be afraid to speak up if like anything ever happened around any
Mhm,
man.
always
Like,
say, like, "You gotta tell your mom what
mhm.
happens."
Mhm.
Mhm.
Which, it's a good thing, but it just sucks that we literally can't trust like half the population, you know?
Yeah. Which I'm, like, really happy that my family is majority woman the women.
Mhm.
Like, it's kinda
Mhm.
nice because I always feel safe because there are a lot of
Mhm.
women around.
Okay, but actually, I just remembered now that we're talking about women, I'm actually afraid of women now too.
Oh.
So, yes, let me tell you about this one story that I forgot about. But when I used to work at JCPenney during the holiday hours, I know, repping me trying to go back there, recreate my trauma. Okay, anyways, during the holiday hours, sometimes we'd close the store like around 11. And then after we close, we do a quick cleanup. So we go
Mhm.
around the store and we like try to fold things. Sometimes we would get out to like 12, sometimes 1 if the store was left really messy. And so this one time, after I got off of work, I went to go back home and I decided for some reason that I wanted to get some hot Cheetos.
The
Of
hot
course,
Cheeto
the
run.
hot Cheeto run.
Mhm.
Because there used to be a gas station, like, on the way, like, to my house, and so I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna, like, stop and get some hot Cheetos." I, like, really wanted them very badly.
Mhm.
So, I stopped, and I go in. I'm looking around because I'm like, it's late. It's like I think it was 12:30, like, midnight.
Mhm.
And I was like, "All right, I gotta look around, make sure I'm safe." When I walked in, there was this lady that was, like, sitting off to the side. She had, like, bags and a little cart with her,
Mhm.
and I was like, "Oh, it's just a lady, right? Yeah, what is this lady gonna do to me?" So then I walk inside, and when I walk outside, the lady approaches me, and she's like, "Hey, sweetie." I'm like, "Hey." She's like, "Can you give me a ride?" And I was like, "Oh, no,
No.
I'm sorry, like, I have to go home, I
Mhm.
can't." And she's like, "Oh, come on, sweetie, just give me a ride, don't be mean." I'm like, I was like, "No, no, I'm sorry." Like, at this point, I was like I felt bad, but I was like, "No, like, you gotta understand, like, I'm a woman by myself, like, why am I gonna give you a ride?" She's like, "My house is just right down there." I was like, "Oh, hell no, lady. If your house is right down there, then why don't you walk your
Walk.
ass over there? Why do you
Like,
need me to give
literally
you a ride?"
walk.
Yeah, and I looked over to where she said her house was. It was pitch black down there. I was like,
Mhm.
"Uh-uh, hell no." I've heard stories about how, what are they called? Child sex trafficking, people will, like, use women or kids to lure other women. I'm like,
Mhm.
I'm not doing that." So I was like, "Hell no." I got in my car, locked it, drove away. She started walking. She started walking to her house. I'm like, "You couldn't have done that before you gave me this trauma."
You didn't have to say all of that, like, you coulda just gone.
Yeah, but no, it
Mm-mm.
was really weird how she was saying like, "Come on, sweetie, like just give me a ride." "Oh, come on, I'm so tired." I'm like, "All right, well, I'm tired too. I gotta go home. You find your way out there, get a taxi or something."
Mhm.
But yeah, you don't just ask a random stranger at 12:30 at midnight to give you a ride down a pitch black neighborhood.
Yeah, especially in such a creepy way.
Yeah, it was so weird. But yeah,
Mhm.
before I was like, "Yeah, I can walk down, trust any woman, like I'll be fine." But nope. Now I'm like, even women can also not be trusted, especially because, going back to that whole thing about the blah, 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 child
Subscribe.
sex trafficking. I don't know what to call them. The people that do
Traffickers.
that, traffickers, there we go. They use other women to
Mhm.
lure you. I've heard like stories about how like they'll have a woman sitting down crying so that you can
Mhm.
approach her, or they'll have like pregnant women, or they'll have kids pretending they're lost. So now
Mhm.
even then, okay, this is like a whole different thing, but sometimes I think about like what if I ever ran across a kid, like a poor kid that was crying. Let's say that they're actually lost. I'm not going to approach them for the
Mhm.
very reason that that could be something else. But
Mhm.
then like that just makes you feel bad because it's like, what if it's actually a lost kid and they
Mhm.
need help? Or what if like a lost kid comes up to you and they're like, "Hey, can you help me find my mom?" Like, what do you do? I'm gonna be scared. I'll be
Mhm.
scared because I'm like, I don't know if this kid is being used to like lure me. So
Mhm.
we can't even like help each other, you
You gotta
know?
be like, "We're staying exactly where we are right now. We're gonna find
Yeah.
another adult. We're gonna call the police, and
I'm gonna
then
call
we're
him
gonna"
now.
yeah, call it
Yeah.
911 first. But it's also like that kid on the other end could
Mhm.
also be feeling the same way.
Exactly. I don't know
It's
if I can
like
go up to this person. Yeah, we
mhm,
like there's no trust in this world anymore.
especially I feel like I mean, obviously, like, every country could be different, but, like, especially living in America,
Mhm.
we have so much to fear.
Yeah. Mm.
Gun laws.
Yeah, oh my god. That's
Yeah,
yeah. That's even crazier. Like literally you just again, you can't trust a single person. Like
yeah.
it's crazy.
Like, what
And
if
like
that
we're
woman who came up to you, like, and say they were, like, she was trying to talk to you for such a long time so that she could put you in a position where she's like, "I actually have a gun on you now. You have to listen to me."
yeah. And that's the thing that's scary about being in like customer service too, is
Mhm,
like it sucks that the customer always has to be right. Sometimes you want to like stand up and like defend yourself, but also like if you defend yourself, like what if that escalates the situation? Now this other person is even angrier and now they
mhm,
like react in a bad way. There's actually an instance here, and this is it's kind of funny, but it's also like so sad how this can happen. It was at a frozen yogurt shop.
mhm,
It was during COVID, and there was this man that walked into the frozen yogurt place, and they're like, "Hey, sir, you have to wear a mask." He's like, "I'm not wearing a mask." And then the manager comes out and he's like, "You have to wear a mask. It's like for everyone's safety, for your own
mhm.
safety, sir."
Yeah.
And he's like, "No." So they told him he had to get out, that he couldn't go in. So this old man goes to his car, grabs a gun, and comes back into the frozen yogurt place and like points the gun at him because he was that mad over not wanting to wear a mask. Like, that's literally such a simple thing. Like, it's laughable because it's like, why would this man go risk his own life too, get jailed for pulling a gun on someone just because he didn't want to wear a mask? But yet, like, it still happened, you
Oh,
know?
yeah, and it's
And
still happening.
yeah, and what if that man was like mad enough to like pull a trigger?
Mhm.
It's
It's
scary.
just yeah, the another that literally could be another episode of just gun laws in America.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I just again, going back to, like, being a woman and being in America, like, the fear of having a gun pulled on you any said being a human in America, but the fear of having a gun pulled on you any second of the day
Mhm.
because the gun laws are so loose here.
Yeah. In fact, I just had a training at my work for how to stop the bleed in case there's ever an active shooter or an active killer that goes into the building. And I took it obviously because it's very like it's good to
Essential,
know. Yeah. But
in this country.
it just sucks that it has to be, you know? And the thing is that like during the training they were literally telling us that like it sucks that they have to do this presentation, but like they need to do it because the risk is too high, you know?
Mhm.
And they have to like educate people on it. I'm like, that's literally insane. And that's me as an adult being scared. Now, let alone these little kids, the poor little kids that have to fear it. Did you ever have lockdown drills when you were in school?
Yeah, I've actually had an active shooter on campus once.
Really?
Mhm. I think I was
Wow.
in middle school,
Mhm.
and we were all it was, like, our last period of the day, and, last period of the day, everyone gets really excited,
Mhm.
and, they used to say there was, like, a code that they used to say. It was like,
Mhm.
"Mr. something has lost his keys," and if they
Mm.
say that on the announcement, that means there is a shooter on campus.
Mm.
And so they
Mhm.
said it, and we were all like, "Oh, it's a drill." And then, like, we were still, like, messing around and stuff because 'cause we're, what, 12 years old? Like, we're not taking it seriously because 'cause we've had so many drills before.
Mhm.
And our teacher was like, "Actually, like, everyone get in the corner and shut up."
Oh my
And we
god.
were there for, like, 2 hours, like, past
Mhm.
school ending, like, we were just there because
Mhm.
there was an active shooter. Still to this day don't know what happened. I don't know how
Yeah.
it, how anything ended, but yeah, we've had it happen here.
Wow.
Mhm.
We used to have drills for active shooters. Luckily, we've never actually had something, but we would get a lot of bomb threats.
Oh.
And it was during the time when the Boston bombing happened.
Mhm.
And because we live in like a military town,
Mm.
we would like constantly get bomb threats.
Oh.
And so we would have to like um which doesn't make sense to me because we would have to go out into the field for the bomb threats. I'm like, if the bomb happened, if the bomb went out, like why? No, and okay, this is even crazier because schools are so unprepared for this, and I totally get it because why would you think to be this prepared at a school for these things to happen, you know?
Mhm. It's also public school, so, like, funding.
Yeah, but I remember this one time my sisters had an active shooter. I think maybe some kid brought a gun to school. He
Oh, mhm.
wasn't like actually like trying to do anything. I
But
think he just
still.
brought a gun, and so like
Mhm.
some kids got alarmed and they like reported it, which was good, you know. But I remember that I was at work and I get a phone call from my sister, and I was like, this is weird because I never really call her. She never really
Mhm.
calls me. I'm like, this is odd. So I remember that already like made me panic, and I told my coworkers, I was like, hey, I'm gonna like step aside. I'm gonna go answer this phone call because it's weird. So I went to go answer it, and my sister was like, hey, like, they said that there's like an active shooter drill, or not drill, an active shooter warning. What do you call it? Is it a drill? Because when I think of drill, I think it's like a false alarm, like a.
Yeah, a drill is, like, not it would just be, what I just said it. My brain stopped working.
I know, right? Mine too. Um, that there might be an active shooter
Al an
ongoing.
alert, I
An
guess,
alert.
right?
Yeah, something. Yeah. And she's like, and they said that you can come pick me up. They're calling parents. And so I was like, what? Like,
Why would
it's
they
so
do that?
weird.
Yeah.
Right? That doesn't make sense
What?
to me. But that put me in panic mode and that made me want to go get her. I literally told my coworkers, I was like, hey, I'm going to like go. Like, I
Mhm.
can't stay. Like, I have to go get my sister.
Mhm.
But like, I would have gone to also put myself in danger too, along with all of the other parents. Cause when I got there, like, it was packed.
Mhm.
Like, every parent was there. We were waiting. We were lined up to get the students. And
Mhm.
if something was actually really going on, like, that would have been, like, horrible, you know?
Yeah,
But
the school, why would I don't know why they do that.
right?
Like I said, my school was put on lockdown. Like, we were not, even though our parents probably came to pick us up because it was the end of a school day, like, we
Mhm,
probably did have parents outside, but we were
mhm,
not allowed to leave. We were not allowed to text anyone, like, we were in there just stuck.
mhm. Yeah, and that's so scary because I mean, just in the drills that we would do, like, the fake ones, I remember I
Mhm.
would get, like, scared. All the other kids would be, like, laughing because it's kind of funny, you know? It's like, "Ooh, like, what are we doing?"
Mhm.
But, like, I was, like, sitting in the corner like, "Oh my god, like, what if it's real? What if it's not real? What if they think it's a joke?" You know?
Mhm.
I would be scared, like, for my life.
Mhm. Yeah, the only, like, side note, but the only drills I, like, wasn't scared of was earthquake drills.
Right?
'Cause I was like, "It's not shaking, like, it's
Yeah,
fine." But,
I
like,
know. When they
every other drill.
because there's always a risk.
Mhm.
When you would be, like, doing homework or something in class, and then they'd be like, "Alright, earthquake drill." Be like, "Ooh, okay.
I
We can
would,
stop
like
doing homework." Hide under the desk.
I would, like, hold my desk and, like, try and shake it lightly to, like, emulate I'm actually in an earthquake.
"Okay, Nayla, you gotta know how to what to do when this happens." To bring it back, we kinda have to laugh it off sometimes because otherwise if we, like, take it too seriously, I don't know about you, but I honestly, again, would be glued to my bed.
Mhm. I think actually, you know what? Yeah, getting back on topic, during college, there would be, like, a lot of situations where, like, men would just be weird to me and my friends, and, like,
Mhm.
we briefly had started a podcast episode where we were gonna talk about pretty
Oh.
privilege, and then we ended up not talking about the pretty privilege, because we
Mm.
couldn't, right? And so what I would have talked about is how with a lot of my friends, like, they'll get hit on by people or, like, things will happen to them and I'll be around them. And
Mhm.
we literally at times will reminisce and be like, "Remember when that happened? That was insane. Like, how
Yeah.
did we get through it?"
Yeah.
Like, we have to laugh it off. We have to look at the situation in a light because if we don't, then we'll be again glued to the bed, scared for life. Like,
Mhm. Yeah. And honestly, that's a a good way to connect it back. But I don't think pretty privilege is the only thing that, how do I say it? Like, I don't think you have to be pretty, or that only pretty people, quote unquote, pretty, have to have these fears, or the only ones with these fears. Like, literally everyone,
Mhm.
like, no matter who you are, men will still try to like flirt with you, will still make you uncomfortable. Like, they don't care at
No.
all. Because I wouldn't consider myself to have pretty privilege. I wouldn't consider myself to be someone that men would want to hit on, right?
Mhm.
But when I go to Mexico sometimes, if I'm literally just standing there in an oversized t-shirt, some jeans, you would think no one's going to hit on me, right? Men will literally drive by and whistle. I'm like,
Mhm.
why?
Yeah.
Why? Like, literally, this is my comfortable outfit, and I can't even feel comfortable in my
Mhm.
comfortable outfit.
It's happened way too many times.
Mhm.
Like, I was literally there's the only story I can think of is I was at a corner store, and I was just like I was getting snacks probably,
Mhm.
and I was just waiting in line, and some guy comes up to me, and he's like, "You are so pretty." And I was like, "Thanks." And he was like, "Could I get $1? I'm trying to buy a milkshake at Jack in the Box."
Oh my god.
And I was like, "I don't have cash." And he was like, "Oh, man, but you're still pretty though." And I was like, "Okay, cool."
He's like, "Respectfully?"
And we just
That's
stood
funny.
there. We
That's
literally
so
I
funny.
was fearing for my life. That's a moment. I was like, "Okay, why isn't he leaving? Like, I already said I don't have cash. Like, please leave." Like,
Yeah.
and then luckily the cashier was like nice to me, and I was like, "Okay, thank you. I
Mhm.
gotta
Ok,
go."
oh my gosh, okay, that actually reminds me of this whole other thing
Mm,
with when you get hit on by someone, we literally sometimes can't even defend ourselves because we don't want it to escalate to the point where this man gets triggered.
mhm,
Because there are some men that if you tell them no, they will get triggered and like they'll start yelling at you, they'll come at you. So like sometimes even though we're so uncomfortable, we're forced to be nice to people who make us uncomfortable.
mhm,
Like in that instance where this man was like, "Hey, you're pretty," instead of you being like, "All right, F off," like, "Leave me alone," like, "I don't want to talk to you." Like you were just like, "Thanks." No, like, "Sorry, I don't have one."
yeah,
We were like, you were going through this guilt thing even though you were fearing for your life where you couldn't stand up for yourself.
mhm. I was like, "Maybe if I had $1." Like, I literally thought about it. I was like, "At least if I had $1, maybe he would've left." Like, I
Mhm.
literally did not have cash on me. Like, I didn't know, like I don't care if you're first of all, why are you hitting on me if you don't have money? I
Yeah.
don't mean to be mean, but second
Yeah.
of all, I, like, no, genuinely, like, didn't know what to say or do. I was just
Mhm.
like, "Please," like, in my head, I just kept saying, like, "I please leave,"
Mhm.
because I couldn't go anywhere. Like, I thought about it. I was like, "What if I just drop my stuff and go?" I was like, "But he could follow me." Like, I
Mhm.
wanted to, like, be face to face with the cashier so he, like, kinda knew what was going on,
Mhm.
to give that,
Mhm.
like, warning in
Yeah.
my eyes.
Like, "Sir, please help me."
Mhm.
Yeah. We're always having to be alert. Like, I was thinking how when I went out today, I was sitting there and I was literally looking for the exit. I parked as close as I could to the front so that, like, the workers inside could see me when I walk in and out
Mhm.
just in case. And even though, like, it was a clear day, there was nobody outside, but still these fears ran through my head because it's like, it could potentially happen.
Mhm.
And when I went to go pump gas in my car, I was thinking about how, like, what if like somebody approached me? Like, I'm gonna use this hose to like spray it up. Yeah, which I learned from TikTok. This lady that actually
Oh.
happened to her. Actually happened to
Oh.
her where she was pumping gas and some guys pulled up in a van and they tried to attack her and she like got the hose and she was like spraying gasoline all over them and they drove off. But
Mhm.
it's just like, these things are running to my head 24/7. Or I'm always thinking like, okay, in which direction can I run?
Mhm. I was
Where
gonna
can I
say,
hide?
do you, like when you go somewhere, especially by yourself, do you look for exit routes? Like, do you figure out your exit route?
I look for
Mhm.
exit routes. I look for people that look like they can be trusted. I look for
Mhm.
families. I
Mhm.
look for women with kids. I look
Mhm.
for other women around my age. Like,
Mhm.
I go through all these different little like
Steps in your
degrees of
head?
people. Yeah, like people that I can trust. Like
Mhm.
ways that I can get out of here.
Mhm. Moms. For some reason, I don't know
Hmm.
why, when I see a mom, like, I'm going as close to, like, the mom as possible.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Like, especially when you're, like, sitting at a restaurant or something and you're, like, able to take your seat, like, specifically pick where you wanna sit. I'm gonna
Mhm.
go where there's, like, people.
Mhm. Yeah. I think it's because like, moms typically can be trusted because they have kids and they mama bears, like, they're
Mm.
gonna protect their kids, so you hope and pray that this mama bear will also protect another young little bear.
Mhm.
Even though we're probably the same age, but,
Yeah.
still, it's just like, "Alright, I can trust this person a little bit more." There's
Mhm.
still a risk, there's a fear,
But
Will
that
this mama bear
calculated.
throw me into the wolves to save her children? You know?
It's also just, like, when again, the degrees of people that you can
Mhm,
trust, right? Like,
mhm,
men cannot trust,
mm-mm,
right?
mm-mm,
Okay, and then, like, what's next, right?
mhm,
Couples, like, maybe not, right? And then it's
mhm.
like, okay, children, they're not gonna trust you, so
Yeah,
whatever. It's like moms are, like, the
yeah,
safest bet,
mhm.
which is why it's, like, so scary that people are using moms to sex traffic.
Yeah, they're
Mhm.
smart. They've gotten smarter. I mean, I don't know if you've heard about the ones where they, like, will leave money on cars, and then the money has, like, some sort of chemical in it that will make you pass out if you, like, touch your nose, your eyes.
Mhm.
Sometimes they'll put, like, tissues on the door handles because you see a tissue there, so you, like, try to move it, and it's, like, strong enough to where, again, if you touch your face or anything, like, you will pass out and you don't
Mhm.
know. They say that we have to literally look under our cars before we get into our car because there could be someone hiding down there. Thankfully, my Carlitos is a little lowrider.
So is mine.
So, there's anyone under there, I'm hoping they're dead, you know?
I could probably take them.
Yeah.
If
I
you could fit
just
under
sit
my
in.
car, I could take you, like.
Yeah. Let me just get in right here and squish you. Yeah. But yeah, no, like literally. Oh, I will never park next to a white van.
Oh, yeah,
Ever, ever,
same.
ever.
A white van or I mean, you probably I don't know how you okay, this is me making an assumption.
Uh-huh.
Are there a lot of trucks in Arizona?
Yeah, a
Yeah,
lot of
pickup trucks?
trucks.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I don't like pickup trucks.
Really? Why?
I don't trust pickup because there's usually, at least in California, if someone's driving a pickup truck, it's usually a man, and it's usually probably
Oh,
maybe even a white man,
right.
and I don't trust men, so
True.
I try and
True.
park next to, like, cars that are the same size as mine.
Yeah. I like I don't really have that much fear of a truck, but you're
Mhm,
right. Like I am aware of that and it's very true that mostly people who drive trucks are like men.
mhm,
Um but it's the white vans for me, especially the
mhm.
ones that don't have windows cuz I'm like they could open up their door right now and like take me.
Mhm.
Uh,
I've had dreams where that's, like, happened, and I'm like I get really bad dreams. I don't know what's going on in my head. I think it's comes
Me
with the
too.
anxiety, yeah, and the paranoia
Mhm.
maybe.
Mhm.
You make me feel so seen because I get, like majority of my dreams are scary. When I get a good dream, it's a good day.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I've never had like a good dream. I mean I have. It's like
Mhm,
very very rare.
mhm,
But, like, even my dream last night, the one with the earthquake, like, the earthquake was probably the best thing that happened in that dream. Everything else was, like, really dark, and I was like, "Mm." And
mhm,
it's weird sometimes, like, how crazy those dreams can get. It's like, "Where is this coming from?"
mhm. I've had so many dreams about getting, like, kidnapped and stuff.
Mhm.
Especially when I was younger too. I had that fear. I thought I was gonna get kidnapped.
Mhm. I've always had a fear of, like, getting held at gunpoint. Like, I literally had this dream one time or not dream, it was a nightmare.
Yeah, they're not
We
even we're like
yeah.
dreams because 'cause we're used to them.
Yeah. It was just another day.
Mhm.
Um we were like washing clothes at this laundromat and we like walk out because we're finished washing our clothes and we go to get in our van and this like guy comes out and he's holding a gun at us and he's like about ready to shoot and I remember I was like so scared and then he pulls the trigger and then bubbles come out.
The bubbles. Yeah.
So the bubbles saved the day.
Mhm.
But yeah, it was a fear and I was
Yeah.
always traumatized even though the
Yeah.
bubbles came out.
Yeah, the one I can remember, the one that, like, stuck with me the most as a kid was my mom and I were in a parking lot, we were going to our car, and then
Mhm.
another car pulls up, and there's 2 guys, and they just take me, and I'm just in the car screaming for my mom, and she's like she can't get me, and she's, like, banging on the car door, like, trying to get me out, and then they take me away.
Oh,
Yeah,
Oh.
it was, like, the worst dream I ever had as a kid.
Oh, no.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm sure we've all probably had, like, a little, kidnapping nightmare before. 'Cause
Yeah, there's probably more.
I think at that point, like, when we're kids, like, that's one of our biggest fears is getting kidnapped. We're not
Mhm,
as aware of all the other fears, but getting kidnapped is, like, one that's very, I feel like, prevalent in every kid's life. It's like, "What
mhm,
if I get taken?" I remember I used to, like, sometimes I don't know about you, and I guess I can say this now because we're old enough,
mhm.
but I remember sometimes my mom would leave us in the car. She would go to the store and we'd be waiting, but it was our choice, you know. We'd be like, we don't want to
I
get
don't wanna go
off.
inside. Mhm,
So we'd be left inside the car with the AC on, obviously.
mhm.
But I remember I would be traumatized that like something was gonna happen. Like my mom was not gonna come back out of that store. So I remember I would like look back every like 10 seconds and just make sure like my mom coming yet? Is my mom coming yet?
Yeah,
that that was my biggest fear as a kid.
I would in those situations, like, rarely would I stay
Mhm.
in the car. I would only yeah, no, I would literally only stay in the car in situations where I know it's gonna take her, like, 5 minutes max.
Mhm.
'Cause if she's gone for more than 5 minutes, I'm gonna start crying, so I would just go with her everywhere. I was attached to my mom. I was like, "I'm
Yeah.
not letting go of your leg, like, this is I'm staying here."
I was attached to my mom's arm right here. This part
Mhm,
was my safe zone. The
mhm,
little like warmth of that part. I would like sit next to her and I would just hold on to that part. That was my safe space.
mhm. See, moms, I'm telling you, it's 'cause our own moms are such a safe space that, like,
hmm
now I just feel safe around mothers.
Yeah. We hope we can trust this mama.
Mhm,
Yeah. Oh no. It's just fears 24/7.
mhm.
Never feeling safe. Can't trust anyone. Gotta bring some sort of light to these fears. Add some comedic relief in there because otherwise we'll never come out of our houses ever again. We'll hide.
Yeah. I mean, okay, one more thing.
Uh-huh.
I also can't trust the police, so it's like, I can't trust
Mm,
anybody.
right. There's a
Mhm.
fear with that too, because it's not necessarily just because of everything that's been going on, right? Like
No.
being a person of color, but I have heard stories of where policemen will take advantage of women.
Yeah, that's what I was
And
thinking of.
yeah,
Mhm,
and they get away with it.
mhm,
So it's also scary where like if I was to get pulled over, I already have a plan and I've looked up the laws that you are legally able to keep driving even though they're flashing their lights at you until you get to a space or like a place where you feel safe.
mhm,
So like where there's more people. If there's a car behind you with flashing lights on, you're driving home middle of the night, you can call. I forgot the number actually. I should probably relook it up. There's a number you could call to check if it is an actual cop.
mhm,
So you don't just trust like any car that's like having lights on and flashing them at you. Like what if it's an
mhm,
unmarked vehicle, you know? You don't know, you don't want to just stop and then it's like not a cop.
mhm.
So yeah,
And you're
there's fear
legally
with that
allowed
too.
to record too, right?
I think some states are iffy now on that.
Oh, because that's the
hmm
first thing I would do. I would whip out my phone and I would put the camera app on and I would hit record on video. Whatever happens, I'm recording. You are not. I'm gonna become a Karen. Like, do not mess with me.
I would literally freeze. I would not know what to do. I literally would like stand
Oh yeah,
there.
I'd have like a heart attack.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I,
like
have you ever been pulled over?
not by myself. I was pulled over once in college, but I wasn't driving. I was
Okay.
just in the car and we were pulled over because our backlights weren't working. But I
hmm
did have a heart attack. I did have a heart attack. The police guy came up and he was like, "Good evening, ladies." And I was like, "Well, already like not having a
Yeah.
good time. Do not, ladies,
Don't
like,
ladies us.
yeah." Because there was four of us and we were all
Mhm.
women in the car. And he's like, taillight's not working. We just wanted to check and see if everything was okay." And then we were
Mhm.
like, "Oh, we didn't even know." And he was like, "Yeah, of course, like it happens." And he was like, "Just there's like a button in there that you just need to click and it'll work." And then we did it. And he was like, "All right, you're good to go." But I was freaking out the whole time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Same happened to me. I've never been pulled over, but there was this one time that I was in a busy intersection and my car decided to turn off. I was
Mhm.
like, "What? What am I going to do?" This is like the first time I've ever had this happen to me and I didn't know like I think I didn't even know where my emergency light was. I had to like look for it.
Mhm.
I was just like panicking and I was, like, trying to, like, signal for the cars behind me to, like, go around me, but they weren't going around me. I
They're all
was like,
honking at you.
"Yeah, they're honking at me." I'm, like, stressed. I was there.
Mhm.
I think, like, 2 lights happened, and I still couldn't move, and then a police car, like, pulls up right next to me. I'm like, I was like, "What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? Like, what is he
Mhm.
gonna do? Is he gonna arrest me for my because my car turned off?" So he, like, walks over. He was very nice, though. He was very nice. He came over. He's like, "Hey, what's going on?" And I was like, starts bawling, like, literally, I'm like, "My car won't turn on, and I don't know what to do. I try to tell them to go around me, but they won't." And then he's like, "Okay, okay." He's like, "Calm down, calm down." I'm like, "Okay." He's like, "Put your car on turn your car off." So I turned it off, and he's like, "Hit the brake." Okay, and I hit the brake. He's like, "All right, now turn it back on." And this car turned back on. Now, like, you're telling me that's all I had to do.
You gotta
But
turn it
yeah.
off and turn it back on.
Mhm.
The
But
solution to every problem.
that's it, that's it. Just try turning it back off and on. But it was so funny. I was, like, scared
Mhm.
that this cop was gonna, like, arrest me or give me a ticket or something. Thankfully, it was a nice cop, but
Mhm.
you just never know.
You
You
gotta
never know
stop.
how it can go.
Authority, man. They're
Mhm.
scary. They power again. It all goes back to us being vulnerable.
No, literally. Like, anyone
Mhm.
in power, I'm terrified of you.
Mhm.
Can't trust you.
But yeah, I think that's about it.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't even touch on, I think, half of them. I know we probably forget about half of the fears that we've ever like gone through, the
Mhm.
experiences. I'm sure we like erase them from our memory and then one day they just like pop back up. But honestly, I think it's for our own sake so we could still go out and enjoy our Target runs.
Mhm. And we never film these on script, so we are
Mhm.
kind of just having a conversation,
Mhm.
and whatever comes up, but
Mhm.
the conversation is never over. I know we
Mhm.
say it every time, but, like, genuinely, especially with this one, there's a lot to be said. And, please go ahead, leave a comment below about how you're feeling about this topic, ways that you possibly cope with it, or ways that help you not think about it. You
Mhm.
know, we'd love to hear what you have to say. But with that, make sure you subscribe, like the video. Make sure you check out our links. We have our YouTube's linked, our Instagram's linked. We are very grateful for those of you who listen to us on Spotify. We also have Anchor. We also have Google Podcasts. I almost forgot this. We are thankful for you listening, no matter what platform you're listening
Yes.
on.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much. And with that being said, sorry for the spam. Bye, guys.
Be safe out there.
Yes. Stay safe. Don't trust anyone. Stranger danger, kids. Even as adults.
Mhm.